UFC 267 is almost here, so we're going to take our final look. We have all the information we need to make informed decisions at this point. You can call me Kunith. Let's make some money this week. If you haven't had the chance, go back and watch the first look video from earlier this week. It's going to be linked in the top of the description. There I go over the slate salary by salary, fighter by fighter, and I break down each fight. Now for our final look, I want to first start by talking about what we have to do to succeed on this card. 15 fights here, that's a ton of fights. We have to call 6 winners. Obviously we want to call 6 winners every time, but what I mean by that is we can't go stacking these 5-round fights. It's going to limit our upside and we won't be able to score enough points to be on the optimal. Second is that we have to be very careful about the dogs that we play here. Absolutely no punt plays. So that's Roman Kopylov, Li Jingliang, Dan Hooker to a lesser extent, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. Also on this card, with the way that the salaries are, obviously a lot of these favorites are pretty juiced up. You're going to have to make your money in the mid-range and try to find a lineup construction that probably consists of 4 favorites and 2 underdogs that you think make sense. I have no interest in playing the Islam Makhachev Dan Hooker fight. I'll be excited to watch it, but I have no interest in playing it on DraftKings. 9,600 is a crazy high price tag. He was 9,400 against Moises, 9,400 against Drew Dober. I get that he might be the best fighter in the division, but again, just like in the first look, if he only scores 70, 80, 90 at 9,600, with how much that limits you with the rest of your lineup construction, it's going to be impossible for him to show up on the optimal, in my opinion. A lot of weird things would have to happen for him to show up on the winning lineup. I absolutely think that he's going to win this fight. It makes it impossible to play Dan Hooker as well. I'll be watching it as an excited MMA fan, but from a DraftKings perspective, not for me. And again, I play single entry, 3 max. If you're playing 150 lineups, go get there. If you want to do that to get different, it's going to force you to get different with your lineup construction. If you're playing cash, if you're playing small field, if you're playing single entry, 3 max, stay away from this fight completely. Just not enough upside and not enough potential to win on the other side. KHAMZAT CHIMAEV at 9,500 is kind of in the same boat. It's very difficult to get there, and if you've been tinkering with the lineups throughout this week, you'll understand how difficult it is to get there. Ulanbekov, Lerone Murphy, I have no interest in either of them. I'm not really high on them to even win their fights. This is a good spot for you to choose either Makwanamir Connie or Alan Nascimento in your lineups. Duraev is at 9,200. He's live to score over 100 points, and he's probably going to come in at low ownership. Magomed Ankalaev, he is better everywhere than Volkan Oezdemir. I do see him coming in at relatively low ownership because people are trying to get to the title fights, trying to get up to KHAMZAT. And you can also use him strategically with your lineup construction, making it so that he's your most expensive play. If you force yourself to take somebody like Duraev or Ankalaev or Jan Blachowicz and make them your most expensive play, it's going to help you construct a roster that makes sense, that can get you those 4 favorites, 2 underdogs to give you the highest chance of calling 6 winners. If you want to play Alexander Volkov, fine. If you want to play Piotr Jan, that's fine. Damir Ismagulov, I'm not getting there at all. I actually think that there's a lot of value on the other side in Magomed Mustafayev. Andrei Petrosky at 8,600 I think is a smash. I have him in almost all of my lineups. Now is the important part. This 8,500 to 7,200 range is where the slate is going to be decided. So we're going to start with Eliza Zaleski. I've been seeing people high on a potential knockout finish for him, but when you look at the people that he's fought, he has a decision win against Alexei Kachenko, who's not in the UFC anymore. He submitted Curtis Millender, who has a terrible ground game, is not in the UFC anymore, and is not doing well outside of the UFC either. He has the KO win over Luigi Vanderimi, who just got knocked out by Paddy the Baddy at 155 pounds. And then he has a knockout win that's aged pretty well against Sean Strickland. And he's got the decision win against Max Griffin. He's got the decision win over Lyman Good. I think he'll be 35 in 1 or 2 or 3 weeks. When you watch tape on Benoit Saint Denis, he just brings the fight to you. He's pressure. He's not cute. He's not on the outside. I think that he's going to be able to implement his offensive wrestling and look for a submission on the ground and get it in this spot. I think that in the UFC debut, and I know the jitters are scary, I think that he's actually going to pick up the victory at 7,700. I have Benoit Saint Denis in a good amount of my lineups. 8,400, the Shamil Gosmotov fight versus Lord Mihal. I don't like it. It's probably going to go to a decision. If it's anything like Oleksiejczyk's fight against Bukowskis, you want no part of this. They're not going to score very many points at all, and it's just not something that I'm confident in on either side. The Tukhugov-Ramos fight, as well as the Hebos and Jandiroba fight, I think these fights are going to probably decide the entire slate. Earlier in the week, I was on Ricardo Ramos, and as you watch the film, you just hate him more and more. I like Zubair in this spot. I think Zubair might even be live for a knockout. He clearly has more power. He's got a more efficient striking technique than Ramos, who seems to just do whatever. There's a lot of wasted movement from him, and I don't think he likes a dogfight either. And if Zubair is able to make it one of those, he might be able to score a decent amount of control time, decent amount of takedowns, and again, he might be live for the KO finish, carrying more power in his hands. I actually really like Zubair Tukhugov in this spot, and I never thought I would say I like Zubair Tukhugov, but I do like him here, and I'm actually going to try to get to him in some of my lineups because I think that at 8,300, with that potential upside, it really might be enough to show up on the optimal and at least be enough to let you get these expensive plays higher on the slate. Amanda Hebos, Verna Jandiroba, this can go either way. I think that if Hebos wins, she probably wins a decision, and I feel like if Jandiroba wins, it's because she knocked Amanda Hebos out. Is Hebos chinny after getting knocked out by Marina Rodriguez? No, I don't think so. But Jandiroba does have some solid power for a strawweight. This is going to be a fun fight either way. I do think that this fight shows up on the optimal just because of the way that the pricing is. A lot of these dogs are just terrible. I just have no confidence in a lot of the dogs, so I think you need to be right on this fight. I like the Hebos side of things. If you went with Jandiroba, I wouldn't be mad at you, but in the final look, I'm looking at Amanda Hebos to get the victory. Again, Ricardo Ramos, not going to get there. If I do play that fight, it will be on the other side. Oleksiejczyk pick is appealing. There is money coming in on Oleksiejczyk. He seems to be the dog that everybody's been talking about throughout the week, but I just don't see myself getting to that fight either. It just looks like a spot that's going to disappoint, not score many points. Benoit Saint Denis, though, at 7,700, I really like this guy. It's hard for me to not plug him into my lineups right away. He's obviously very tough, he's very strong, and he brings it as soon as the fight starts. He's not cute on the outside, and we really like that with somebody with his type of game plan. Yao Zhong Hu, he could destroy the slate. I have no interest in Yao Zhong Hu. Magomed Mustafayev, I can see how Demir just controls the pace of this fight and win a low-scoring decision. But if Mustafayev wins, it's probably going to be inside the distance. It's going to score a lot of points. So he has really good upside and really good value at 7,500 in my opinion. At 7,400, Cory Sandhagen, I have no interest. I have no interest in Glover Teixeira as the dog in the other 5-round fight. Volkan Oezdemir, I'm not confident in either. Roman Kopylov, I'm not confident in either. But what if Marcin Tybura was the answer? Hold on. I think that I'm going to get to a lot of Alexander Volkov. I don't think I'll be playing any Alexander Volkov. He's sandwiched right between the two title fights. Do I think that Volkov would win? Yes. But if Marcin Tybura wins, how does he win? He's probably not going to outstrike Alexander Volkov. So he's probably not going to win a decision. His most likely path to victory is securing a takedown and finishing the fight from the ground. Incredibly difficult to do. Alexander Volkov is extremely tough. We saw that when he fought Curtis Blades. He just kept getting up and getting up and getting up. With all that being said, if Tybura wins, he's probably going to finish Volkov. I don't see Tybura winning in decision, so he might be the answer. This is somebody I don't hear anybody talking about. I wasn't particularly interested in. And that ends up being the person that breaks the slate. Don't be scared. You might want to take a shot on Marcin Tybura and just see what happens. At the low price point, there are two plays that are really interesting. Makwanamir Connie. He's definitely winning the first round. He's definitely going to secure a takedown at some point, which means the fight will be on the ground. If he could tie up a submission from down there, you're in a great spot. I kind of feel the same way about Alan Nascimento. If he's able to tie up a submission, you're in a great spot. But these are the only two fighters that I could see in this range winning. So you're probably going to want to stick to a lineup with fighters like Marcin Tybura, Magomed Mustafayev, and Benoit Saint Denis. If you can work in two of these dogs into your lineup, you'll see that you will be able to get creative. So to quickly recap, anything higher than 9,200 you might want to stay away. Anything below 7,200 you might want to stay away. If you can limit yourself to that mid-range and try to build a lineup that's going to give you 4 favorites, 2 underdogs, I think that's going to give you the best chance at showing up on the winning lineup this week. Let me know what you guys think. Tell me in the comments who your favorite plays are. Make sure you like and subscribe so that way I can bring more of this to you.